All right, welcome back. So I guess this is kind of like a debriefing video slash last update on my creativity deck. For those of you that don't know, um, the last RCQ for Modern ended last week on Saturday, and I mean there was a couple events after that, but you know, on Sunday I think or whatever. But for me, it ended on Saturday. So anyway, uh, just some debriefing stuff on how like the matchups went and stuff like that. And yeah, it was kind of weird because like I usually do pretty well at like RCQs, but this season I did top 8 a lot, but I didn't get much farther than that. I would sometimes get top 4 and then strike out. So it's pretty disappointing. I'll start off with pretty much, I would say like the last game I played was my probably like the most crazy, but also it's kind of like best games I played of the year. Pretty much what happened was I was 3-0, and then I played against like Eldrazi and I lost. So I went 3-1, and there was like quite a few other people that were 3-1, and so it's gonna be pretty tough getting in the top 8, right? So what happened after that was I went to play against another. I had to play my last match, and you know, if you win, you're in kind of deal. And I was playing against. I mean, as soon as this guy played one of those double faced lands, I knew immediately what the matchup was. It was Charbelcher, and I have never actually played against Charbelcher, but I do know how the deck works and stuff like that. So first 2 games are kind of a slog, but in that match. But the last game was pretty insane. So what happened was, I think it was turn 4. I mean, it was a lot of back and forth. I'm fighting through the counter spells. And on my last turn, I drew into a surgical. And earlier in the game, I thought seized the Belcher out of his hand. So there was one in his grave. So I'm thinking, okay, he has 1 card in his hand. It has to be a counter spell. Now, what kind of counter spell it was, I wasn't sure, because, you know, it had been a couple turns after, and he's kind of got, you know, kept drawing cards and stuff. So, you know, I'm like, if I surgical the Belcher out of his graveyard, now with all my mana untapped, you know, and he plays like a spell pierce or the double face land that counters unless you pay 1, whatever that's called. So he has to have something like that, and I'll be able to pay the tax for it, or maybe he just won't play that at all, right? So looking back, I should have did something else, but I have the combo for creativity up and this. So I surgical the Belcher out of his grave, and I go to do that, and he's able to counter it. And so I creativitied him, got my Archon out, and you know, now he's in a bad spot. He has no cards in his hand. He has a Charbelcher in the grave. So I'm feeling pretty good. Like, he has the top deck Belcher to win, because he did have a pedal out. And this is when I realized that I should have boarded in meltdowns, but then I was like, well, it only hits like one thing, so maybe it's not that good. But looking back, I definitely should have boarded in meltdown, but that's besides the point. He actually had two pedals out. He had the crack one to pay for, I think it was a force of negation or whatever, force of will, the 3-mana one. So I'm like, okay, he's out of cards. You know, he literally has the top deck Charbelcher the win, and he draws, and he throws the card down, and it's Charbelcher, and he won. So it was pretty insane. I wasn't mad. I usually am mad when I lose, but I wasn't mad about this. I honestly was like, it's so insane, because like the odds of that happening were pretty low, you know what I mean? But that's how my season ended. A lot of 3 and 2s. I had some 4 and 1s, but yeah, it's pretty crazy. I guess I'll go through the deck here and kind of go through the my final thoughts and all that. But yeah, so let's get to, I was playing 4 Faithless Lootings. I know I kind of like bashed on this card earlier when I was talking about this deck, but it's kind of like a necessary evil. And also later in the game, like you can flashback it, right? So, and Thoughtseize, MVP of the deck. I mean, like I said in my last video, a lot of combo decks like Charbelcher. There's Burn Scale combo or whatever. That deck doesn't. It plays some like mid-range game plan sometimes, but it ultimately just wants to do its combo. So yeah, so Thoughtseize is really good, and you are paying a lot of life with the deck, but when you're doing like powerful things, it doesn't really matter. And Archon gains you life back anyway. Decided to go with 3 lightning bolts and 3 fatal push, and I think that this ratio is correct after playing the deck a lot. Like I said, some people play like 4 lightning bolts and 2 pushes, or 4 pushes, it just kind of depends. But I think that split just kind of worked for me. Ren and 6, I finally got my 4th copy like a couple weeks ago before the last 2 events I attended. Only playing 3 Persist, trying out another card in the 4 slot, and only playing 3 because like the Persist plan as a deck is not like that consistent. And also like a lot of people are just mainboarding Graveyard Hate, and I unfortunately ran into that head first a lot, where I was like, in game 1, I'm like, there's no way they have, a lot of Graveyard Hate in their main board, right? I was completely wrong. A lot of decks have it. Energy has the charm, the white charm that exiles a graveyard. So, and then a lot of decks are running the 0-mana artifact that exile graveyards. So whatever that one is. So yeah, a lot of decks are running it. So I'm only running 3. It's still like when it's there, it's incredibly powerful, but it's not always going to be there. I think 4 is correct for now. Running Bitter Triumph was incredible. I think 1 is probably fine. A lot of people are running 1 Paw Patch formation, and I do see why, because it is good against like Orzhov Blink, because they have the enchantment creature, the Overlord, whatever he's called. Really good card. It destroys that pretty good. It also destroys Goblin Bombardment from energy, stuff like that. It also hits creatures with flying. It's very multi-purpose, but And the main effect that we're using it for is drawing a card and creating a food token. So obviously it's a very multi-purpose thing, but I ended up boarding it out a few times. This is the card I'm using for persist right now. It's basically just like card advantage, and hopefully you can bin an Archon to set up something, or kind of get something else going. Because sometimes this deck, like, you run into like a wall sometimes when you don't have Faithless Looting, like you just keep drawing lands or something. So I just threw it in there. I might take it out at some point, but we'll see. I'll put that over there. We have 4 Fables. Fable, after this last go around, it was pretty good. It was incredible, actually. But there was some tournaments where I did feel like it was slow, or if they bounce it back to your hand or something, that felt pretty bad. But with Thoughtseize, like going more of with Thoughtseize, it was just I didn't have to worry about that as much. And then running 4 creativities and 1 transmog, I think that this is correct, because having the extra copy is very critical, because there's a lot of times where I've had some games where I did take like transmog out in a version of this where I was playing like blue. I was playing like 4 colors, and there were some games where I just never hit creativity, and that was awful, because you really need to hit creativity on by at least turn 5 or 6 sometimes. But man, you just need like 5 copies. And then obviously the man himself, 4 Archons, because we're running the persist package as well, so we're gonna run 4. All right, let's go to the I guess what lands. Nothing really too exciting. Basically like 11 fetch lands. I need to take this out at some point, but I didn't really feel like dropping another $20 on Arid Mesa. So yeah, so these are all fetch lands here. So 4 Foothills, 4 Myers, and then these would be like 3 Mesas, but didn't get my hands on a 3rd one. 2 Stompings, and then 2 Blood Crypts. I probably could have or should have cut one of these out for a commercial district, but I just never got around to it. 1 Rakdos Surveil land, and then Useju, obviously finally got that in. Took it to the last couple tournaments, and it's great. Obviously it's Useju, right? So 4 Dorvamine, and we're running 4 because of transmog, because it just makes the deck a little bit more consistent. And then Proving Ground. So those are the lands. And we have the sideboard, so I did change this a little bit from last time. Made it just a little bit more simpler to navigate. Surgical, I probably should have played 2, but there's another card I'm playing, and I'll get to that in a minute. 2 Cleansing Wildfire. This card, I don't understand why people are not playing this. It is so good against a lot of decks, because a lot of people are not running that many basics anyway. So it's like you play like 3 or 4 of this, you side them in, and you can completely strip mine somebody out of the game. It's very good, especially against when I was playing that deck, whatever it's called, Charbelcher. They don't play any basics in the main board. Now they do side some in depending on the matchup, right? Like if they get Blood Moon, they're gonna have to side in basics. But when you side these in against them, like, and you just keep hitting their lands, they're done. Like, Card is incredible, and you also draw a card. So, very good. I think it's pretty underrated. Veil Summer, obviously, incredible card against Murktide or really any deck that's playing blue or black. Just when you go to do your combo, they try to stop you, and then you say, "Nope, I'm gonna do this anyway," and you play this. Meltdown was very good. I sided it in against like Affinity and stuff like that, and it was incredible. And I should have sided it against Charbelcher, but I was just trying to race them. And, you know, that's just like pilot error, I would say, but card is incredibly good. Trastodon, good card. I mean, there's other options, but he's there when I need it. Actually, funny story is I played against a mill player, and they have a Hideous Laughter or the one that exiles, you exile your cards from top of your library until you hit a CMC of 20. So after game 1, I just boarded in both of these with the Archons, and he did that like 2 or 3 times, and I hit like, you know, a couple of these, and I was like, well, I guess that's all I mill. So that was pretty funny. I ended up winning that one. Leyline of the Void is the card I'm also playing with. Surgical. Now, which one is better? I'm not sure. Both of them are very good depending on the circumstances. I would say Void is slightly better in that you just take a, you know, like a proactive approach to whatever they're doing. So I would say probably run 3 of these and then take out Surgical, because like getting this on the board and having it resolve is a lot easier than other things. And then the last 2 cards I was playing were just some basics, because a lot of the cards we're playing are like non-basics, right? And so I didn't want to run into things like Harbinger of the Seas, stuff like that. I actually lost a couple of games because of that card. So in the last like couple weeks, I decided to put in some basics, and it definitely helped the deck out a lot. I wouldn't say that you need to do this, but this is just what I did. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Kind of want, I don't know when the next time we're getting another modern like RCQ season, but I guess for now we're just gonna have to wait and find out. We're getting, I believe, 2 seasons of standard. I'm not sure if I even want to partake in that yet. Kind of brewing some stuff right now with standard, just kind of seeing what's out there. The new set does look kind of interesting, so maybe get back into that. I haven't played standard in like 6 years, so I don't know, 6 or 7 years. The prices are kind of getting insane, but that's a time for another story. And yeah, that's all.